The Oscar-winning actress Lana Vance was gracefully fielding questions at a press conference for her new film. The stage was flooded by the relentless strobing of camera flashes. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. Seeing the name Ethan Rhodes on the screen, she hesitated for a split second before answering. A man's drunken voice slurred through the phone, thick with whiskey and a wounded vulnerability. "My wife is ignoring me." The reporters below, sharks smelling blood, instantly noticed the flicker of tenderness on the actress's face and raised their cameras. "She says she's leaving to shoot a movie for 3 months. Won't even let me kiss her or hold her anymore." Ethan wailed like a lost child. "Lana, do you think she doesn't love me anymore?" Lana, still holding the microphone, glanced out at the hundreds of pairs of eyes fixed on her and cleared her throat. "Ethan, honey, you've had too much to drink. I'm not drunk. I just miss my wife." A wave of excited murmurs swept through the press corps. Was this the mother of all scandals? Lana sighed, a sound of fond exasperation, and spoke softly into the microphone. Okay, I'll come home as soon as the press conference is over. Be good." After hanging up, she faced a now silent auditorium and said with practiced calm, "All right, where were we? Any more questions? As for my husband, he's just a little clingy." The room exploded. "Ethan, man, that's enough. You've got that meeting with the Celestial Tech guys tomorrow afternoon. You're going to be useless if you have another drink." I looked up at my best friend Ben's face, swimming in and out of focus. "What meeting?" My tongue felt thick. "The project's launched. We're celebrating. We have to celebrate." I raised my glass and slammed it against his. The sharp clank cut through the bar's thumping bass. Whiskey is a beautiful thing, especially when your chest feels tight and you can't find a release valve. Ben sighed, snatching the glass from my hand. "All right, celebration's over. This isn't celebrating, it's wallowing." He paused, then asked carefully, still thinking about Lana. "Lana Vance." The name was a tiny hammer, tapping gently on my heart. It didn't hurt, it just ached. "Why would I think about her?" I said, the lie tasting bitter. "She's a huge star. She's busy." "Yeah, she is," Ben said, twisting the knife. "I just saw on my feed she was at the press conference for her new movie. Says here, she's starring opposite that up-and-comer, Leo Grant. They play lovers. Apparently, there are some pretty intense makeout scenes. Man, these tabloid headlines are insane. Stuff like Lana Vance bears all for her art, and Leo Grant admits kissing Lana Vance on screen felt incredibly real." I didn't hear another word he said. The phrase makeout scenes just played on a loop in my head. Lana Vance, Leo Grant, kissing. I could even picture it under the glare of the studio lights. That pretty boy Leo Grant, leaning in slowly toward my Lana, toward the girl I protected since we were kids. And then he would kiss her. A white-hot rage shot from my gut to the top of my skull. Who the hell did he think he was? She was the girl I put on a pedestal my entire life. I'd never even dared to touch her like that. Why should some other guy get to kiss her? No. I slammed my hand on the table, making Ben jump. No. Just no. I didn't even know what I was saying. I just felt this tangled knot of anger and hurt, and I was about to burst. I fumbled for my phone. The screen was a blurry mess. I squinted, scrolling until I found the number I knew by heart, pinned to the top of my contacts next to a stupid little heart emoji. Lana. Ben saw what I was doing, and his face went pale. "Dude, don't. She's at a press conference. It's being live. So what?" I had to ask her now. Ignoring him, I hit the call button. It rang twice before she picked up. Her end was quiet, a stark contrast to the noise in the bar. I could hear the soft sound of her breathing. In that instant, all my anger dissolved into a tidal wave of self-pity. I sniffled, my voice catching. "Lana." I said her name again, my eyes starting to burn. "My wife is ignoring me." Silence on the other end. I could picture her perfectly, eyebrows furrowed in exasperation, but with a hint of an indulgent smile in her eyes. Ever since we were kids, she could never stay mad at me when I used that tone. She said she's leaving to shoot a movie for 3 months. 3 months, Lana? That's so long. She won't even let me kiss her or hold her anymore. I complained into the phone like a lost little boy. "Lana, do you think she doesn't love me anymore?" The whiskey had taken over, and all the things I've been too scared to say my whole life came pouring out. I didn't care about her stupid press conference. I didn't care who was listening. I just wanted her to know that I was hurting badly. A faint sigh came through the phone, followed by her voice. So gentle it felt like silk. "Ethan, honey, you've had too much to drink." Her voice, even with the slight distortion of the call, was like a feather stroking my heart. "Won't even let me kiss her or hold her anymore." "Lana, do you think she doesn't love me anymore?" The reporters in the video went into a feeding frenzy. The camera flashes turned into a solid wall of light. And Lana, after a moment of stunned silence, actually leaned into the microphone and said, in a tone you'd use on a toddler, Okay, I'll come home as soon as the press conference is over. Be good." The video ended with her hanging up, looking out at the dead silent room and dropping one final, devastatingly cool bombshell. All right, where were we? Any more questions? As for my husband, he's just a little clingy. Boom. I could almost hear the sound of my brain exploding. This was bad. I wasn't just trending. I had just nuked the entire entertainment industry servers. I had ruined Lana Vance. She was fiercely ambitious at the absolute peak of her career. A secret marriage, especially one revealed like this, could be a fatal blow. My hands shaking, I tried to call her. Voicemail, I called her assistant. The call was immediately declined. Despair washed over me. Just then, a new notification popped up from Twitter. It was from that actor, Leo Grant. A real actor's job is to focus on the work. I'm excited to collaborate with a true professional like Lana Vance. Some people should just stop trying to grab attention with cheap stunts. Below it, his fans and a legion of bots were going wild. Leo's right. So sick of these clout chasers. I feel so bad for Lana. How did she end up married to some classless nobody who just holds her back? Who even is this guy? Is he living off her money? My vision went dark. I nearly crushed my phone in my hand. The doorbell rang. I scrambled to the door and threw it open. Standing there, wrapped in a hoodie, sunglasses, and a baseball cap, was Lana. Lana, seeing her, was like a drowning man spotting a life raft. I'm so sorry, Lana. I'm so sorry. My voice was trembling, the words tumbling out. I was drunk. I didn't mean to. I ruined you. I screwed everything up. I stood there with my head bowed like a kid who'd just broken into family china, unable to meet her eyes. I was braced for anything, a slap, a screaming tirade. Whatever she did, I deserved it. But the storm never came. She just stood there silently, stepped inside, closed the door, and took off her hat and sunglasses. Her face showed no anger, no disappointment, not even a ripple of emotion. It was terrifyingly calm. Lana, just yell at me. Hit me. I don't care. The silence was killing me. We'll release a statement, I said, my voice desperate. We'll say, I was drunk and called the wrong number. They were just old friends. Yeah, just friends. The words just friends felt like a needle in my heart. Lana finally reacted. She lifted her eyes and looked at me. That beautiful almond-shaped gaze, usually so full of warmth, now held an emotion I couldn't decipher. A statement. She repeated the words softly, the end of it lilting upwards, saying, we're just friends. She took a step toward me, and her clean floral scent surrounded me. I forgot how to breathe. Ethan Rhodes. She used my full name. Do you really think I've spent all these years in Hollywood for nothing? Do you think a little thing like this is going to take me down? I was stunned, completely lost. She took another step, so close now that I could see the individual strands of her long eyelashes. Or maybe her voice dropped to a low, dangerous whisper. You really do only want to be just friends with me. My mind went blank. What did she mean? The next second, she leaned in, her warm breath ghosting over my ear, sending a shiver down my spine. I heard her whisper so softly, it was almost just air. What did you call me on the phone yesterday? Say it again for me. I froze, my entire system crashing. I couldn't form a single word. Her voice, now laced with amusement, tickled my ear. It felt like a kitten's paw, gently scratching at my heart. What's wrong? Lost your nerve? She pulled back half a step, looking at me with a playful, knowing expression. Her gorgeous eyes were sparkling with mischief. Where's all that courage you had last night, Mr. Rhodes, when you were whining to a national audience? My face burned. I wanted the floor to swallow me whole. Lana, don't joke around right now. We need to. Who's joking? She cut me off, the playful look vanishing, replaced by a sharp focus. Ethan, do you have any idea what the consequences would be if we denied this now? She walked over to the sofa and sat down, crossing her legs, instantly transforming back into the powerful A-list star. The entire internet is trying to figure out who the mystery husband is. The story is at its absolute peak. If we come out now and say, sorry, it was all a misunderstanding, we're just friends, do you think anyone would believe it? I shook my head. They wouldn't, she answered for me. They'd think I was dumping my normal civilian husband for my career, or that my studio forced me to deny it. My image would go from secretly married for love to heartless and ambitious overnight. And you, she looked at me, would become the most pitted man in America. The weight of it all finally hit me. I had been so naive. So, what do we do? I was completely out of ideas. Lana watched my panic for a moment. Then a slow smile spread across her face. So we don't deny it. She spoke each word with perfect clarity. We lean into it. Lean into it. I thought I must have misheard her. She nodded, her eyes glinting with an unshakable confidence. Just then, her phone rang. It was her agent, Rebecca. Lana put the call on speaker and Rebecca's frantic voice filled the room. Lana, where did you go? The studio is in chaos. What the hell is going on with you and this Ethan Rhodes? Rebecca, calm down. Lana's voice was unerringly composed. I need you to do something for me right now. Draft a press release. Say that Ethan Rhodes and I are childhood sweethearts. That we've always been together. But he's not in the industry and we wanted to protect our privacy, so we never went public. What? Rebecca shrieked. Are you out of your mind? I'm not, Lana said calmly. Oh, and by the way, make sure you accidentally leak my husband's identity. Let them know he's the founder and CEO of Singularity Tech. Rebecca went silent on the other end of the line. And so did I. Singularity Tech, the company I'd founded 3 years ago. We kept a low profile, but in the tech world, we were already a unicorn. With one move, she had transformed me from a freeloading nobody into a tech mogul. Who was her equal? It didn't just shatter the narrative that I was punching above my weight. It turned the whole scandal into a high-powered Hollywood love story. After hanging up, Lana looked back at me, her eyes shining with strategic brilliance. "Now, Mr. Rhodes," she said, beckoning me closer with a single finger. "Let's discuss the terms of our marital duties." The first of our marital duties was cohabitation. To make the act more convincing, Lana had her assistant deliver several suitcases that same day. As I watched her direct the placement of her clothes, her skincare products, and even her fuzzy pink bunny slippers around my apartment, I felt a profound sense of unreality. This was my home, a sanctuary that, aside from Lana and myself, no third person had ever set foot in. Now, it was rapidly being colonized by her presence. The air filled with the faint scent of gardenias from her perfume, mingling with the perfect cedar of my aftershave to create a strange, intoxicating new fragrance. You can put your clothes in the master closet. I can clear some space," I offered, feeling clumsy and out of place in my own home. "No need," she said, without looking up from her task. "Put my things in the guest room. We're a couple to the world. In private, we're still friends." She emphasized the word friends, glancing at me as she said it. A strange pang of disappointment hit me. The second marital duty was crisis management. For instance, the sudden ambush by her formidable agent, Rebecca King. Rebecca stormed in the following afternoon while I was in the kitchen trying to demonstrate my husbandly capabilities by cooking dinner. I had nearly set the place on fire. When the doorbell rang, I was staring at a pan of blackened, unidentifiable sludge, my face smudged with soot. Lana answered the door. "Impressive skills, Mr. Rhodes. You look like you've been battling a dragon," Rebecca drawled the second she saw me. I managed an awkward smile. Lana, however, was completely unfazed. She walked over, took the spatula from my hand, and expertly killed the flame. "He's not usually like this," she said, wiping my face with a damp cloth. As she spoke to Rebecca, she added, "He knew you were coming and wanted to show off. He just got nervous." Her fingertips were cool against my cheek. I could smell the shampoo in her hair, and my heart skipped a beat. Rebecca rolled her eyes and slapped a folder down on the counter. "All right, save the performance for the cameras. This is the PR strategy the studio drafted. Take a look." It was a detailed script outlining joint appearances we had to make and a list of standard answers for media questions. "When did you get together?" Answer: "We've known since we were kids." "He was the one." "Who pursued whom?" Answer: "He pursued me for a very long time." "Are you engaged?" Answer: "We're keeping that private for now, but soon." I looked at the Q&A, which read more like a movie script, and my head began to spin. Lana, however, read it intently, even making notes in the margins with a pen. "I think we can punch this up a bit," she said, tapping the question about the proposal. "Let's change it to, he proposes every single day. I just haven't decided how I want to say yes yet. It's much more buzzworthy." Rebecca pinched the bridge of her nose. "Lana, are you trying to make this story even bigger?" "Of course." Lana smiled a sly, cat-like grin. "We have to make it worth that phone call he made, don't we?" She glanced at me again. Her eyes clearly said, "You started this." "Mr. Rhodes, our public debut as a couple was at a star-studded charity gala in Beverly Hills. According to Rebecca's script, my role was to be the adoring, loyal husband whose eyes never left his wife. Honestly, it wasn't difficult. I didn't have to act at all. From the moment Lana linked her arm through mine on the red carpet, I couldn't look away. She wore a deep crimson velvet gown that made her skin look like porcelain. She was radiant, incandescent under the flashbulbs. She was the only thing I could see. Inside, we were inevitably the center of attention. People drifted over with champagne flutes, offering congratulations while trying to dig for gossip. I handled them all with the scripted answers until an unwelcome guest arrived. It was the actress Sophie, Lana's well-known rival, a woman famous in the industry for her two-faced sweetness. "Lana, I'm so happy for you," Sophie cooed, her smile not reaching her eyes. "It must be nice. The rest of us still have to slave away in this business." Lana gave her a lukewarm smile. "I guess I'm just lucky. Not like you, Sophie. You're so well-connected, always finding powerful people to help you out." She glanced meaningfully at the portly director standing next to Sophie. The comment made Sophie's face flush. Having failed to score a point against Lana, she turned her attention to me. "And you must be Mr. Soul, young and successful." She raised her glass to me, but her eyes were full of judgment. "You better keep a close eye on Lana, though. She and Leo Grant are just electric in the new movie. I heard they had to do one of their kissing scenes over a dozen times to get it right. The director is such a perfectionist, and you know Lana, she'll do anything for her art." With every word she spoke, my jaw tightened, my hand clenched around my wine glass, nearly shattering it. The kissing scenes, Leo Grant. Again, this woman was deliberately trying to get under my skin. Just as I was about to lose my temper, Lana's hand gently covered mine under the table. Her touch was a warm, steadying current that instantly calmed the storm inside me. "Sophie, your sources are a little off," Lana said, her voice cool and even. I used a body double for those scenes. The director was very understanding about an actress in a committed relationship. Her hand gave mine a little squeeze. After all, she looked at me, her eyes filled with a look of pure adoration. The man I have at home gets jealous. Then, before I could process what was happening, Lana leaned in, cupped my face in her hands, and pressed her lips to mine. A soft, definitive kiss right there in front of everyone. The entire ballroom went quiet. Sophie's face turned the color of a plum. I could feel Lana's body pressed against mine, trembling slightly. That kiss at the gala sent the shippers into a frenzy. The internet exploded with cries of, "I can't even. Oh my God. This is what real love looks like. This is it. This is a grown-up power couple. Leo Grant and his puppy dog eyes can step aside." Did you see Sophie's face? She tried to stir up trouble and got shut down by the queen herself. I'm living for this. Leo Grant was predictably furious. He posted a series of tweets about just wanting to focus on his craft, which only led to our shippers piling on, accusing him of being a sore loser. It made things on set between him and Lana even more tense. I saw it firsthand when I went to visit her. They were shooting a scene where Leo's character, mistakenly believing Lana's character had betrayed him, was meant to grab her in anger. "Cut," the director yelled, frowning. "Leo, your energy is all wrong. You're supposed to be angry, not manhandling her. Lighten up on the grip." Leo apologized profusely. "Sorry, director. Sorry, Lana. I was just too in the moment." Lana rubbed her wrist where his fingers had left red marks and shook her head. "It's fine." They reset for another take. Leo was just as aggressive. During the struggle, he accidentally lost his footing and stumbled, falling directly toward Lana, and right behind her was a tall shelf stacked with props. My heart ceased. I didn't even think. I just ran before Leo's pathetic attempt at a heroic rescue could play out. I got there first, pulling Lana into my arms and spinning so that my back took the impact of the falling shelf. There was a dull thud as it hit me. It hurt, but the woman in my arms was perfectly safe. The set fell silent. Leo sprawled on the floor, looked up at me, his face a mixture of shock and fury. I looked him up and down, my gaze like ice. "Mr. Grant." My voice was devoid of all warmth. "Even when you're acting, you should try to be careful." I gently helped Lana stand upright and smoothed her hair. My touch was delicate, as if I were handling priceless porcelain. Then my eyes snapped back to Leo, my message unmistakable. "She's mine." I'd stopped myself just short of saying, "my wife." But the possessiveness in my voice was absolute. "If a single hair on her head is harmed, you'll answer to me." After the incident on set, Leo Grant became a model of professionalism. Our public image, as the devoted couple, was solidified. We did a few talk shows and shot a couple of magazine covers. Our chemistry was palpable. Our unspoken glances and gentle touches fueled the fantasies of shippers everywhere. Life went on day by day, in this strange space between reality and performance. I got used to waking up to her scent on the pillow next to mine. I got used to her frowning as she snatched the instant ramen from my hands and made me a proper breakfast sandwich instead. I got used to the evenings with her sitting cross-legged on the sofa in a face mask, debating the merits of a new script with me. It almost felt like we were a real, ordinary married couple. But I knew better. Every night when she retreated to the guest room and closed the door behind her, a crushing sense of emptiness would swallow me whole. I was addicted to this warmth, this closeness, but I was terrified that it was all just an illusion, a dream I would eventually have to wake up from. The feeling was driving me insane. The movie 3 Months finally had its premiere. At the after-party, Lana was cornered by producers and industry executives and ended up drinking far more than she intended. By the time we got home, she could barely stand. I supported her as she leaned against me, her body pliant in my arms. "Lana," I said softly. She didn't answer, just buried her face in my chest and mumbled, "Ethan, I'm dizzy." Her voice was soft and slurred with alcohol. It sounded like she was pouting. My heart melted. I scooped her up in my arms and carried her toward the master bedroom. I gently laid her on the bed and turned to get her a glass of water, but her hand shot out and grabbed my wrist. She opened her eyes. The alcohol had made them glassy and dark, impossibly alluring. "Ethan, yeah, let's stop pretending," she said, each word with perfect, sober clarity. My heart plummeted into my stomach. This was it. The moment of judgment had finally arrived. The movie was a hit. The charade, which I had started, was no longer necessary. It was time for the curtain to fall. My throat felt tight. I couldn't speak. So, this is what it felt like when the dream ended. It hurt more than I ever could have imagined. "Okay," I heard myself say, my voice raspy and thin. "You're right. It's time." The movie. It was a huge success. "Thank you, Lana, for playing along with me for so long." I tried to pull my hand away, but she held on tighter. She just stared at me, her eyes swirling with a complex emotion I couldn't name. "Ethan, you're such an idiot," she said softly. Then, with a sudden tug, she pulled me down toward her. I lost my balance and fell, catching myself with my hands on either side of her head, my body hovering over hers. Our faces were inches apart. I could feel her breath on my lips. When I said, "Let's stop pretending," she whispered. Her eyes locked on mine, her voice trembling with desperate courage. That's not what I meant, Ethan. I don't want to pretend to be your wife anymore. She paused, her eyes welling up with tears. I want to be your real one. My brain shut down. The world went silent. The only things I could hear were the frantic drumming of my own heart and her short, ragged breaths. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Seeing my dumbstruck expression, Lana's tears spilled over, but she couldn't help but laugh through them. Ethan, you blockhead. You absolute idiot. She balled up a fist and thumped my chest, not hard enough to hurt. Do you have any idea how long I've been waiting for you to say something? I've been waiting since we were kids, playing house. Since the very first time you ever called me your wife. I waited 10 years, Ethan, and what did I get? You telling me we should issue a statement saying we're just friends. The more she spoke, the more the tears flowed. So, when you made that call during the press conference, do you have any idea how happy I was? I thought, finally, the idiot finally gets it. Even if I had to force your hand, I didn't care. I was done waiting. So that was it. What I thought was a career-ending catastrophe was the opportunity she had been waiting for. What I thought was a performance was her meticulously executed plan. It wasn't just me. It was never just me. A wave of pure, unadulterated joy crashed over me, washing away a decade of secret longing. I lowered my head and kissed the salty tears from her cheeks, my voice shaking with emotion. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Lana. I'm in love with you. Not like a childhood friend. Like a man is in love with a woman. It's been you. It's always been you. I had finally said the words I kept locked in my heart for 10 years. She laughed through her tears, wrapped her arms around my neck, and pulled me into a kiss. This wasn't for show. It wasn't a test. It was a decade of suppressed emotion, finally beautifully breaking free. 6 months later, Lana Vance won her second Oscar for her role in 3 months. At the after-party, she was a guest on a major late-night talk show broadcasting live. As her plus one, I was naturally sitting in the front row. The host, a man who loved to stir the pot, smiled at us. The whole world is dying to know, he said, looking at me. That infamous phone call that shook Hollywood to its core. Was it a beautiful drunken mistake? Or was it the most brilliantly calculated public confession of all time? Every eye in the studio turned to me. I took Lana's hand in mine, and we shared a small smile. Then I reached for the microphone in front of her and spoke directly to the camera. It wasn't a mistake. I turned my head and looked deep into the eyes of the woman beside me. Every time I called her my wife that night, I meant it with my entire heart. As the audience gasped, I slid off my chair and onto one knee, pulling a small velvet box from my pocket. A box I've been carrying around for a very, very long time. So, Lana Vance, will you let me call you that for the rest of our lives? Lana covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face like pearls. But through them, she broke into the most radiant smile I had ever seen over the deafening chants of "Say Yes, Say Yes" from the audience. She nodded furiously, her voice thick with happy tears. I will,